what if our obsession with reality television trauma is like the exact thing keeping these families broken? I mean, what if our demand for entertainment and our thirst for the mess is the very reason they can never actually heal?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is like the ultimate question of the reality TV era,
Yeah.
honestly. Are we just the spectators in the Coliseum, demanding blood from people who really just need a therapist? And more importantly, if they actually got healthy, would we immediately just change the channel?
It is a super dark thought, but it is exactly the mindset we need today. So, welcome to the Snark side. Snark Squad babes, welcome back. It is Friday afternoon. And yes, for anyone watching this on video right now, we are drinking white sangria again.
Obviously. It basically our signature aesthetic at this point. It's a non-negotiable dietary requirement for surviving the week.
Exactly. Because, babes, it's summer. Or, well, at least we are aggressively pretending it is. It's that fake summer energy where you, like, turn the heat up in your apartment, put ice in your drink, and just lie to yourself. And honestly, why not? Cheers, bestie.
Cheers. The fake summer energy is essential. It is like a protective barrier against the realities of the actual world.
Like, it really is. Okay, but before we get into it, we need to give, and I mean this from the bottom of my soul, a massive shout out to Cardi B.
Oh my God, yes. Everyone stop what you are doing right now. Respect must be paid.
Because, babes, our hair is fucking soft. It is shiny. It is looking aggressively healthy after using her hair mask recipe again.
We are literally swishing it back and forth right now. It is giving premium cable energy. Like, it is giving, I have dermatologist on speed dial.
Let's be perfectly clear with the Snark Squad right now. Babes, tell us our hair looks good. Tell us our waists are slim. And
Well,
tell us
it's-
we look tan.
Say it out loud right now in your car or like on your hot girl walk. Just let the delusion flow through you.
Because that is our love language. Words of affirmation, but specifically words of absolute unearned delusion. I'm fully receiving these imaginary compliments right now. I feel them washing over me through the microphone. So thank you. You're right. My waist is snatched today and my hair is reflecting the sunlight. I appreciate you noticing the hard work I absolutely did not do.
I will gladly mock this shared psychosis, but like looking at you,
Yeah.
I completely agree. We look flawless today. We are glowing. The hydration is real. The delusion is acting as a natural highlighter right now.
Honestly, we haven't done much today. Outside of extensive self-care, applying this mask, and mixing the sangria, absolutely nothing productive was accomplished. Like, not a single email answered. And babes, we are loving it.
There is power in radical unproductivity. It's a rebellion against the hustle culture that tells you your Friday afternoon needs to be optimized. We're optimizing nothing but our fruit-to-wine ratio.
Right. So since we are already in this perfectly unbothered, mildly tipsy Friday state, we thought, why not? Let's get messy, let's get shady, let's get snarky, or let's just get stupid.
For the new listeners joining the Snark Squad today, welcome to the chaos. This is the segment where we read your listener drama submissions, we take your wild, highly personal, utterly chaotic stories, and we pass intense, uninvited psychological judgment on your lives.
We are not licensed professionals, but we have watched a lot of reality TV, which makes us highly qualified to diagnose your family dynamics. So let's jump right into the deep end. Submission number 1. This listener writes, my mother-in-law acts completely holier than thou. She goes to church 3 times a week, but she constantly criticizes my life choices, my parenting, and even the way I load the dishwasher. We are currently living with her to save money for a house, and I am losing my mind. How do I make her stop?
Oh, wow. The classic living with the enemy to save a down payment scenario. This is an absolute cornerstone of the millennial and Gen Z experience right now.
I am so deeply triggered by this for our listener, because let's talk about the dishwasher. The dishwasher micromanagement is a documented form of psychological warfare. It really is. It's never just about the cups or the silverware. It's about control. It is a manifestation of covert narcissism. She is using domestic chores to signal to you every single day that you are incompetent in her territory.
It's territorial marking. She might as well be a cat scratching the furniture.
Exactly. And the hypocrisy of it. To act like this perfect, pious person who is in the front pew of the church 3 times a week while actively destroying your daughter-in-law's mental health behind closed doors. No. I am getting emotional just thinking about the stress this listener is under. You need to sit her down, look her dead in the eye, and establish emotional boundaries. You have to tell her that her passive-aggressive comments are hurtful and unacceptable, and that your presence in the home requires mutual respect.
Okay, let's inject a little bit of harsh reality here, because emotionally confronting a covert narcissist in their own home is like trying to put out a grease fire with a glass of water.
Mm.
You're just going to burn the kitchen down. Let's look at the actual power dynamics. You are living in her house. You are eating her food, using her electricity, and yes, loading her dishwasher. You want her to stop criticizing you. You have to remove her leverage. You have to move out.
But they're trying to save for a house. Have you seen the housing market? Interest rates are insane. You can't just tell them to abandon their financial future because mother-in-law is annoying about Tupperware.
Then you pay the toll. I call this the living with the mother-in-law tax, and the currency is your sanity. You do not get to live rent-free and demand premium emotional support. It is a transactional arrangement. You are trading your autonomy for free rent. So you just nod, you say, yes, Susan, you are so right, the bowls go on the bottom rack, and you quietly transfer another $2,000 into your high-yield savings account. You cannot fix a toxic dynamic while actively benefiting from it, move out, or embrace the misery.
That is so incredibly harsh. You were telling them to just swallow the abuse.
I am telling them to recognize the game they are playing. If you want her money, which is what free rent is,
Aye.
you have to play by her rules. The second you sign a lease somewhere else, you can load the dishwasher with a blindfold on and never speak to her again.
Yeah.
But right now, you are an employee in the bank of Susan.
Ugh. I hate that you're making sense on a mechanical level, even though my heart completely rejects it. Protect your peace, listener. But also protect your credit score, I guess. Let's move to submission 2 before I throw my sangria at you.
No.
My mom secretly tracks my location via my phone. She showed up uninvited to a bottomless brunch I was at with my friends, pulled up a chair, and ordered a mimosa. I am 26 years old.
Stop. That is top-tier messy behavior. That is Hall of Fame overstepping.
I am completely horrified. This is the definition of enmeshment. For those who don't know, enmeshment is when family boundaries are so blurred that individual identities get lost. The parent doesn't see the child as a separate, autonomous adult. They see them as an extension of themselves, showing up at a bottomless brunch. That is a sacred space for 20-somethings to make bad decisions, gossip about their coworkers, and complain about their mothers. You do not want your mother there.
It is a massive developmental violation.
Exactly. And the fact that she secretly tracked the phone, that is an invasion of privacy. We have normalized this digital surveillance culture in families with apps like Life 360. What started as make sure you got to school safely has evolved into drone parenting. She is treating a 26-year-old like a toddler wandering around a mall. You need to turn off your location sharing immediately, change your passwords, and have a serious, structured conversation about what it means to be an adult.
See, you look at this and see a textbook case of enmeshment and a boundary violation. I look at this and I secretly deeply respect the absolute hustle.
Are you kidding me?
Hear me out. The sheer audacity to not only track your adult child, but to then pull up a chair and order a drink. She didn't come to scold you. She didn't come to drag you out by your ear. She came to party. She wanted a mimosa. Is it toxic? Yes, absolutely. Is it iconic? Also, yes. Most helicopter moms show up to complain. Your mom staged a covert black ops mission for bottomless brunch. Turn off the location sharing, sure. But you have to admire the strategic execution.
You are enabling the toxicity. This is why people have to go to therapy for 10 years. You cannot reward a stalker just because they order a fun cocktail when they catch you.
I'm just saying, if she brought her own credit card and paid for a round for the table, I might let her stay for 1 hour.
This is exactly why we spiral. Okay, submission 3. And this one is the one that really got me emotionally fired up. My partner refuses to defend me when their mom throws insults at me. The mom constantly makes passive-aggressive comments about my weight, my body, and my career. When I beg my partner to say something, they say they are just keeping the peace because the mom has promised to pay for a $50,000 wedding. Do I force the issue?
Oh, wow. This is the ultimate dilemma. The literal price tag on your dignity.
I'm getting incredibly emotional just reading this, because the answer is yes, you force the issue. A $50,000 wedding is not worth marrying someone who will not stand up for you. Let's break down the psychology of keeping the peace. When a partner says they are keeping the peace, what they're actually saying is, I prefer your silent suffering over my temporary discomfort. They are choosing the path of least resistance at the expense of your mental health.
That is a very accurate definition of the phrase.
If your partner cannot defend you against their mother's blatant disrespect about your body and your livelihood, they are never going to defend you in life. What happens when you buy a house? What happens if you have kids? Is the partner going to keep the peace when the mother-in-law is criticizing your parenting? You are marrying a coward. You need to cancel the big flashy wedding, go down to the courthouse, and demand a partner who actually has a spine.
Okay. Take a deep breath. Let's step back and look at the math here. Let's look at the socioeconomics of the modern wedding industry. 50. $1,000. Do you know what kind of floral arrangements that buys? Do you know what kind of open bar that secures? Do you know how hard it is to save 50 grand in this economy?
You cannot be serious right now. You are choosing an open bar over emotional safety. You are advocating for moral bankruptcy.
I am advocating for a calculated return on investment. I am saying that if you want the 50 grand, you have to play the game. The partner isn't a coward. The partner is an investor protecting a major asset. You want a free luxury wedding that you could otherwise never afford. You keep your mouth shut, you smile at the monster-in-law, you let her make her little comments about your career, and you let her pay the caterer. It is a transactional relationship.
That is so dark. You're telling this poor listener to sell their soul for a wedding venue. A marriage is supposed to be a partnership of mutual protection.
And a wedding is a theatrical production funded by wealthy relatives. Once the check clears, the last dance is over, and the marriage certificate is legally filed with the state, then you cut her off. You block her number the morning after the reception. It's called strategy. You endure the temporary insults to secure the permanent bag.
I vehemently disagree with every single fiber of my being. Listen to me, Snark Squad. If you were the one who wrote this, run. Run away fast. Do not listen to the snarky logic over here. Protect your peace. A beautiful wedding is just one day. A marriage to someone who won't defend you is a lifetime of misery.
And pay for your own pigs in a blanket. Your choice. Buy your own tool.
Okay, we need to transition before I physically throw this sangria at you, because we actually need to have a spiritual moment right now. My blood pressure is too high.
A spiritual moment.
Yeah.
After you just yelled at me about wedding finances.
Yes. Because, babes, I recently went to a Turkish tea reader, and it was a deeply moving, highly spiritual experience. The way she read the tea leaves, I felt completely seen. The veil was lifted. So obviously, having observed her for 20 minutes, I am now fully qualified to do readings myself. But since we are drinking white sangria, I will be doing wine readings.
Wait, you were claiming to be a mystic because you paid a woman $20 in a dimly lit room behind a crystal shop.
It was $40, and she told me my aura was a rare shade of magenta, which I already knew, but it was nice to have it validated. So, hand over your glass. There's a little bit of fruit dregs at the bottom. Let me look deep into the white sangria spirits.
Please illuminate my future based on a soggy piece of peach. What does the universe hold for me?
Okay, looking at the way the strawberry is sinking, oh wow. The spirits are unsettled. They are telling me you are in for a highly chaotic weekend. I am seeing bad decisions. I am seeing you at like 1:40 a.m. hovering over your phone keyboard. The spirits say you are going to text an ex. You are going to ask you up to someone who is absolutely no good for you. Or, wait, no, the blueberry is shifting. You are going to start a deeply petty fight in a group chat over something completely inconsequential, like whether a hot dog is a sandwich, and you are going to burn bridges. You are going to go scorched earth over processed meat.
You know, it's terrifying. From a purely analytical standpoint, the probability of me starting a petty group chat fight this weekend is exceptionally high. The data supports the strawberry. So maybe the sangria is psychic. My turn. Hand over your glass.
Be gentle with my spirit. I am delicate today.
Let's see here. Looking past the floating mint leaf. Oh dear, the spirits are showing me a massive emotional meltdown.
Over what?
Over reality television. The spirits are showing me that you are going to watch a completely unhinged family dynamic on your screen. You are going to project all of your own emotional issues onto it.
Yeah.
And you are going to cry while ruining the expensive Cardi B hair mask you just put in by stress sweating. Your carefully curated beauty routine will be entirely destroyed by consuming other people's trauma.
Okay, the accuracy of that is actually a personal attack, because that is exactly what happened, and it perfectly brings us to the main event. Those listener submissions we just read, the ones about toxic mothers, boundary violations, and selling your soul for wedding money, your prediction about my reality TV meltdown, they all perfectly mirror the absolute obsession we need to unpack today.
We are, of course, talking about our current hyperfixation. We watched it, we spiraled, and we have to tell the Snark Squad everything. We are breaking down Mama June, From Not to Hot, Season 8, Episode 6, and the episode is literally perfectly titled Checkmate.
We are so obsessed with this episode. Babes, if you haven't watched it, buckle up. We're going to give you all the shade, all the banter, and all our unfiltered opinions. The theme is checkmate for a reason, because this is the episode where people are completely out of moves. The past decisions, the lies, the manipulation, it is all fully catching up to everyone, and the family tension is at an absolute unmanageable boiling point.
It really is a masterclass in cornering yourself. If we treat this show as a sociological text, which we absolutely do, the entire episode feels like a study in what happens when toxic patterns hit a brick wall. Everyone is finally facing the consequences of their actions, but instead of demonstrating any personal growth, they just double down on the delusion. We have grouped this chaos into three major themes. Theme 1, the myth of the blended family. Theme 2, the weaponization of real estate. And Theme 3, delusion in financial planning. Let's start with Theme 1, and the absolute chaos that is Josh, June, and this wild blended family fantasy.
Okay, so we open the episode with June on her little apology tour. She's sitting down talking to Alana, and June is trying to explain why she ghosted Alana for 6 solid months. Half a year. And what is June's excuse for this abandonment? She claims that her divorce from Josh really took a toll on her. She says her life has been very rough, so she didn't want to pile her emotional baggage on anybody else. And she literally says to the cameras, "I'm taking accountability."
Which is fascinating because it highlights how reality TV has co-opted the language of therapy to dodge actual therapy. Saying "I'm taking accountability" is the reality TV equivalent of a celebrity posting an apology on the Notes app. You aren't taking accountability, June. You're issuing a PR statement.
I was so emotional watching this scene because let's talk about what real accountability is. Real accountability requires acknowledging the specific harm you caused, validating the other person's pain, and changing your behavior. Jean does none of that. She weaponizes her own trauma, her divorce, to justify her bad behavior. You cannot use your divorce as a get-out-of-jail-free card to completely abandon your family, especially Alana. She missed Alana's Dean's List ceremony.
Yeah.
You don't just disappear for half a year and then show up like, "Oops, life was rough on me, but I'm accountable now." That is your child.
Yeah.
You do not ghost your child because you're having a bad time.
And let's look at the sheer hypocrisy of her accountability. In the very next breath, she brings up Josh and Darren. June actually says, out loud, that seeing Pumpkin and Darren together makes her damn skin crawl. She is actively begging Josh to be cordial for the kid's sake, to play nice, but then she openly admits she can't even stomach being in the same room as her own daughter's partner. She is demanding a level of maturity from Josh that she is fundamentally incapable of providing herself. It's pure awkward projection. She wants everyone else to blend perfectly while she refuses to even try.
It is so incredibly messy. But then, as a contrast to June's fake accountability, we get the sit-down between Darren and Josh. And this is where it gets really interesting, because Darren and Josh are actually trying to figure out this co-parenting dynamic. They sit down, and Josh actually looks at Darren and calls him bro.
I don't need no help, bro.
How?
I mean, the bar for men in reality TV is literally buried in the Earth's core.
Yeah.
But we will accept bro as a massive milestone. It's progress. It's an acknowledgement of shared existence.
Right. And then Josh FaceTimes Alana to show off his newborn baby, Sadie, which, by the way, included a full diaper blowout on camera. She's taking a poopy for Daddy to clean. It was so gross, but honestly, it was so real. It was a grounded moment of actual parenting. But Alana, bless her sweetheart, she watches all of this and she says she just wants them all to be one big, blended, happy family.
And that is the tragedy of Alana's character arc. She's trapped in this delusion of the nuclear family. Sociologically, we are fed this ideal that families, no matter how fractured, can eventually heal and come together around a big dinner table. Alana is hoping for a Brady Bunch ending in a family that operates fundamentally like Game of Thrones. She hopes they will blend, but June literally just said seeing them makes her skin crawl. The math does not add up. It is impossible.
It breaks my heart. She is holding on to a fantasy. But the emotional whiplash in this episode is insane because we have to immediately pivot from the baby blowout to theme number 2, the weaponization of real estate.
This is where the psychological warfare really begins.
Yes, because Jessica and Cheyenne are stranded. Their backyard literally caught on fire. It is a crisis. And June, smelling blood in the water, swoops in and invites them to stay at her house.
Let's call a spade here. Let's look at the actual mechanism of what is happening. June did not invite them out of the goodness of her maternal heart. This was a strategic, highly calculated move to one-up Trina. June explicitly points out that at Trina's house, they only have a little old couch to sleep on. By offering her guest room, June is weaponizing her square footage to assert dominance over Trina. It is real estate warfare. She is using shelter as leverage.
Exactly. It's strings-attached generosity. And Jessica and Cheyenne, they know this. They aren't stupid. They decide to move in, but they have a plan. They are going to butter June up. They think if they play the game, they can get June to cough up the cash for their wedding. They genuinely think they can outmanipulate Mama June.
Which brings us to the core delusion of their financial planning. You cannot out-hustle the original hustler. June wrote the playbook on manipulation. And it backfires spectacularly. They're in the house, they're trying to play nice, but June's behavior is escalating. She is talking down to Cheyenne, she is acting wild, and Jessica is just sitting there absorbing the abuse, trying to keep the peace for the payout. It's exactly like our listener submission about the $50,000 wedding. Jessica is enduring the toxicity for the promise of a check.
It was suffocating to watch. Jessica was just gritting her teeth and enduring it. But then, babes, we have to talk about the breaking point. We have to talk about the trauma that unfolded on our screens. Jessica finally gets a backbone, but only because she is pushed to the absolute psychological brink. They walk into the house, and what do they see?
A naked trauma.
It is seared into my retinas. I need EMDR therapy just to process it. They walk into the house, and June just flops over and just literally says, on camera, her tits flop over with her. June is completely butt naked on top of Justin in the middle of the house while the girls are staying there.
This is where we have to look past the shock value and analyze the psychology of exhibitionism as intimidation. If the guest room didn't assert dominance, the naked flop over certainly did. This wasn't just an accident, it was a boundary violation designed to remind them whose house they were in. Let's look at this analytically. Staying at June's house for wedding money is exactly like selling your soul to a reality TV producer. You sign the contract. You know it's going to get ugly. You know your boundaries will be violated. You know there will be fabricated, deeply uncomfortable drama. But you do it because you hope the ultimate payout, the wedding check, is worth the trauma. And then you walk in on your mother naked on top of her husband, and you realize the price is too high. The math has changed. You cannot put a price on your sanity, and you certainly cannot put a price on unseeing that specific image.
I am still recovering. And it wasn't just the nudity, because after they catch her, June then threatens them. She tells Cheyenne that if she doesn't like her attitude, she won't let her stay in the house anymore. It's financial abuse wrapped in a threat of homelessness, immediately following a naked traumatization. She is saying, I control your shelter, so you have to endure my behavior.
It's a master stroke of villainy.
Oh.
And it works, because it finally pushes Jessica to snap. The cost became too high. She tells June they want nothing to do with her, and they pack their bags.
Oh.
Which leads us to the greatest countermove in reality TV history.
Trina's major flex. Oh my gosh, I was screaming at my television. I was cheering. So Jessica and Cheyenne flee the naked trauma, and they head straight to Trina's house. The house with the little old couch that June was mocking earlier in the episode.
And Trina, recognizing the moment, drops a tactical nuke on June's entire narrative.
Trina sits them down and announces she's been talking to her girlfriend, Jackie. By the way, we need to pause for a second. They have been together for 10 years, and they have never lived together. 10 years.
Honestly, keeping separate households is probably the secret to a 10-year relationship. Separate bathrooms preserve the romance. You don't have to argue about how the dishwasher is loaded if you don't share a dishwasher. But the timing of this decision to finally move in together is what is crucial.
Right. So Trina says she is finally moving out to live with Jackie. And because she is moving, she is giving Jessica and Cheyenne her entire house. Not the couch, the whole house. She is handing it over so they will have no house payment while they save for the wedding. And then Trina looks at the camera, completely deadpan, and delivers the most lethal, shady line of the season. That's what an unselfish mom does.
Checkmate. The episode title makes perfect sense right here. June tried to use her guest room as leverage to control the wedding narrative and assert dominance. Trina counters by literally signing over property. You cannot compete with that level of martyrdom. Trina established herself as the ultimate provider, completely neutralizing June's financial leverage over the girl's living situation. She weaponized her generosity. It was a flawless victory.
I was screaming. That's what an unselfish mom does. The shade was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Trina wore the halo, but she made sure it had spikes on it. But, of course, the financial stress isn't over because they still have a wedding to plan. Which brings us to theme number 3, delusion in financial planning and the venue showdown.
Let's look at the economics of this because the delusion is incredibly strong here. Jessica and Cheyenne state very clearly, out loud, that they have a strict budget of $4,000 to $5,000 for this entire wedding. And their stated dream is a rustic barn with some hay bales, simple, affordable, country chic.
But then they go to visit Lockwood Estate. And babes, the second they pull up, you know this is not a hay bale situation. This place is gorgeous. It has a 170-year-old pecan tree. It has crystal chandeliers hanging in the barn. It has a massive groom suite with a pool table and 3 different bars. It's a B.O.B. bring your own booze, but they have food trucks, a selfie station, gold sequin backdrops. It is a Pinterest board brought to life.
And what is the price for this luxury farmhouse experience? $94.50 per person.
$94.50 for a plate of food and a venue. If they have 100 guests, that is almost $10,000 right there. That is double their entire stated budget. And that doesn't even include the alcohol, the dresses, or the photographer.
This is where we see the sociological pressure of the modern wedding industry. They are touring a venue they fundamentally cannot afford. They know June isn't paying. They know they don't have the cash. But they are walking through the supported loft area, acting like it's a real possibility, because the culture tells them they deserve the luxury experience. And just when you think the financial delusion is the most stressful part of the scene,
The pop-up happens. The most unhinged, terrifying pop-up I have ever witnessed. June, who is specifically uninvited, who is just told by her daughter that they wanted nothing to do with her after the naked incident, tracks their shared phone location, just like the mother in our listener submission. She physically tracks her adult daughter like a bloodhound. She hops in the car with Justin, drives to Lockwood Estate, and crashes the venue tour.
and let's examine her stated motivation. Let's look at the mechanics of her actions. Is she crashing the tour because she loves her daughter and desperately wants to support her special day? No. June explicitly tells the camera she looks right into the lens and says she's doing it because it is very productive for her to make Trina's life a living hell. That might be the most productive thing she has done all week. She is weaponizing her physical presence to assert dominance. She claims she has a right to be there because she is Jessica's biological mother, and there will be two mothers of the bride, so Trina needs to get the hell over it.
The audacity, the sheer unadulterated audacity to track your child's location via GPS just to start a fight at a luxury venue.
Oh.
And it leads to what we are officially calling the staircase fight.
A truly cinematic moment of petty behavior. The spatial dynamics alone are fascinating.
So they are touring the venue, trying to ignore June, who is just trailing behind them, making passive-aggressive comments. And they get to this beautiful, grand wooden staircase that leads up to the loft area. The tour guide asks if they want to go upstairs to see the view. And June, refusing to climb the stairs, plants herself at the bottom. She says, "I cannot see, so you know I'm not going up them damn steps. But everything that goes up must come down, and I'm going to be right here at the bottom, waiting on for them to come down." Like a literal troll under a bridge.
It is the troll under the bridge trope executed perfectly in real life. She is holding the venue hostage, and Trina is upstairs. Let's look at this spatially. Trina has the high ground. She is looking down from the balcony, feeling very safe, very secure in her moral superiority. And Trina yells down, "The view is great up here, and for two, your mom can't come up here."
And June just snaps. She yells back, "Bitch, I can go up there. I just ain't gonna come up." And then June drops the most out-of-pocket, vile line. She yells up at Trina, "There's a handicapped bathroom for you, bitch."
The gasp I let out in my living room. It was so unnecessary, but so calculated.
And it breaks Trina. Trina, the holier-than-thou, church-going, "I am above this mother," finally cracks. Trina drops an F-bomb right back at June. She slings the B word right out of her mouth over the balcony railing. June literally dragged the churchy Trina down into the mud with her.
Which was June's goal the entire time. Let's talk about the concept of gray rocking. Gray rocking is a psychological technique used to deal with abusive or manipulative people. You act as unresponsive, uninteresting, and unengaged as a gray rock. You give them nothing to react to. If Trina wanted to win, she should have gray rocked June. She should have looked down, smiled politely, and turned back to the tour guide. But Trina didn't gray rock. She engaged.
Yes, she took the bait.
June says it herself. She brings out the worst in people. She succeeded in her mission. She was looking for reactive abuse. Reactive abuse is when a toxic person pushes and pushes and pushes you until you finally snap and yell back, and then they point at you and say, "See, you're the crazy one. You're the one yelling." June made Trina break character. Trina had the moral high ground with the house flex, but the second she leaned over that railing and cussed out June in front of the venue coordinator, she lost her halo.
The poor venue coordinator. Can you imagine? Like, do you guys have more company joining us? No, it's just my estranged mother screaming about handicapped bathrooms from the foyer. So after this massive public fight, they get outside and they have to talk about the money. Because Trina has the little brochure in her paws, she's asking about tables and chairs, and June is hovering around them. And Trina finally confronts June about paying for the venue.
And June delivers the line of the season. She looks at them, completely stone-faced, and says, "The bank of Mama June is closed."
Closed. The absolute nerve. You track their location, you crash the venue tour, you ruin the entire vibe, you scream obscenities at the other mother, and then you refuse to write a check. But then the delusion strikes again. Because June doesn't just bow out and leave. No, she claims she can be the deal maker.
Right. She tells them, "I used to be the coupon queen, and now I'm kind of like the deal maker." She legitimately, genuinely believes she can use her TikTok fame to get them a $10,000 wedding venue for free via trade-offs.
I was dying laughing. You cannot sponsor a luxury 170-year-old pecan tree wedding with TikTok couponing. Hey, Lockwood Estate, I'll do a TikTok dance in front of the selfie station if you comp the open bar and the prime rib. It is completely detached from reality, and Justin is standing right there, nodding along like, yeah, she holds weight. No, she doesn't.
It's the ultimate narcissistic pivot. Think about the mechanics of what she is doing. She's saying, I won't give you my actual money, because that requires real sacrifice, but I will give you the gift of my perceived influencer status, which forces you to remain dependent on me. It's brilliant manipulation. It keeps her involved in the wedding planning without costing her a dime. It's terrible financial planning, but excellent control tactics. Which perfectly brings us to how the Snark Squad online is reacting to all of this. We pulled some of the top comments from the Mama June Reddit thread, and babes, the fans are completely viciously divided.
It is an absolute war zone in that Reddit thread. Let's read some of this shade because a lot of fans are turning on Trina. One user called Trina Jennifer 2.0, another one straight up called her Trina Beana Weena.
Which is such a deeply specific, playground-level insult. I kind of respect the immaturity of it.
But the criticism is real. People are saying Trina and Cheyenne are coming across as miserable, entitled bullies. One comment pointed out that they never smile, they're constantly rolling their eyes, and they have this massive attitude problem in every scene. They're saying Trina acts like the world revolves around her, and she goes off if people don't do exactly what she wants.
And this is where the meta layer of reality TV audience psychology comes in.
Yeah.
A fan brilliantly pointed out in the thread, when June is the likable one, you know things have gone completely off the rails. And it's true. Think about it. June is behaving abysmally. She is tracking phones, staging ambushes, and fighting on stairs. But Trina and Cheyenne are so relentlessly negative and sour on screen that somehow June's chaotic, unhinged energy starts to feel like the lesser of two evils simply because she's at least providing entertainment. As an audience, we will forgive a villain who makes us laugh long before we forgive a victim who bores us.
Wow. That is so true. We want the circus. But there is a massive opposing view in the thread, too. A lot of fans are defending Jessica and Cheyenne. They're saying that trying to trick June for the wedding money was actually sly and devious in a good way, like they were trying to beat a rigged system. And there are people saying that Trina is treating June exactly how June deserves to be treated. One person said, June doesn't need to make a huge spectacle of herself all the damn time. She should be smacked in her place.
The divide is fascinating. It really comes down to what you value more in your reality stars. Moral consistency or chaotic entertainment? Do you want good people or do you want good television? Which is exactly what we need to break down in our segments today. Let's get into segment 1, biggest family drama. Who brought the chaos?
I mean, we have to agree on this one. It is June, without a shadow of a doubt. The chaos is practically radiating off of her like heat off a sidewalk in August.
There's no contest. If you map out the conflict vectors in this episode, every single arrow of distress points directly back to Mama June.
Let's just review the sheer audacity of her actions in a 48-hour period. She explicitly, proudly tracks her adult daughter's phone location without her consent. She forces her husband to drive her to a wedding venue tour that she was expressly uninvited to. She waits at the bottom of a staircase like a literal bridge troll, and then screams obscenities about a handicapped bathroom just to spite her ex's new partner. That is weaponized chaos level 100.
It is, but I have to push back just a little bit here. Because chaos requires a dance partner. Is June the instigator? Yes, absolutely. But isn't Trina also bringing the drama by refusing to just ignore her? Why engage with the madness?
What do you mean? Trina was provoked? June called her a bitch?
Was she provoked, or was she presented with an opportunity? Trina is standing at the top of a beautiful staircase in a luxury venue. She has the high ground, both literally and morally. The venue coordinator is standing right there. The smartest, most devastating move Trina could have made was to employ that gray rocking technique we talked about. She could have looked down at June, smiled a pitying smile, and said to the guide, "Let's continue the tour. The acoustics down there are terrible," and just walked away. But she didn't. Trina leaned over the railing and screamed the B word. Trina took the bait. By engaging, Trina validates June's presence and amplifies the drama. If Trina really wanted peace, she would gray rock June into oblivion. But Trina likes the fight just as much. She wants to be seen defeating June.
Ooh, that is a hot take. You are saying Trina is secretly a drama addict disguised as a church lady. Okay, I see your point. The reactive abuse worked. But the chaos crown still sits firmly on June's head for initiating the strike. Which brings us to segment 2, most questionable decision. What had you confused? Call it out.
Oh, I have mine locked and loaded. The most questionable decision in this entire episode, perhaps the entire season, was Jessica and Cheyenne's initial plan to just endure June's house to secure a free wedding.
The butter-up strategy.
It is fundamentally flawed logic. They walked into a burning building, metaphorically, expecting not to get burned. You are dealing with Mama June, a woman who will use a guest room as a psychological torture chamber. To think you can just smile and nod and walk away with 10 grand, it's delusional. You cannot put a price on your sanity. And as we discussed, the cost was watching your mother butt naked with Justin. Was the potential for a hay bale barn wedding worth that specific visual trauma?
No. The answer is no. It is never worth the naked flop over.
Exactly. They played a stupid game and won a deeply traumatizing prize. It was a massive miscalculation of their own emotional endurance.
I agree it backfired terribly, but for me, the most questionable decision rests entirely on Trina's shoulders. It's her decision to constantly play the holier-than-thou card while simultaneously instigating arguments.
Elaborate on that.
Trina presents herself as the savior of the family. I'm giving them the house. That's what an unselfish mom does. She paints herself as the mature, pious, protective figure. But if she is so above it all, if she's so spiritually grounded, why does she let June get under her skin so easily? At the dinner the night before, she was snapping. At the venue, she was snapping. If you are going to wear the halo, you can't be throwing horns the second June walks in the room. It's a highly questionable strategic decision to brand yourself as the good guy when you have zero emotional regulation around the bad guy. It makes you look like a hypocrite to the audience.
It's the classic reality TV trap. You try to play the hero, but the format of the show demands you act like a villain to get screen time. Which brings us perfectly to segment 3. Who needs a reality check? Be honest. Who needs to wake up?
I have to get emotional here because my heart genuinely hurts for her. Jessica needs a massive, immediate reality check.
Or the wedding budget.
Over her mother. Jessica needs a reality check that her mother, June, is never, ever going to be the traditional, supportive, check-writing, dress-shopping mother that Jessica desperately wants her to be. Jessica keeps putting herself in these situations, moving into the house, asking for budget help, inviting her to dinners, because she is holding on to a fantasy. She wants the Hallmark movie mom. She wants the mom who cries when she tries on the veil. And every single time she tries to force June into that mold, June breaks the mold and hits Jessica over the head with the jagged pieces. Jessica needs to wake up, look at who her mother actually is, grieve the mother she never had, and move on. Stop asking the bank of Mama June for a loan when the vault is full of toxic waste.
That is surprisingly profound and deeply accurate. The expectation is the root of all her suffering. She is suffering because she expects a tiger to act like a house cat. But if you'll allow me to be a bit more direct and cynical, Trina and Cheyenne need a massive reality check.
Oh boy, we're good.
They need a reality check about the socioeconomics of the show they are currently filming. They're acting miserable, rolling their eyes, crossing their arms, and acting utterly disgusted every time June does something messy. But ladies, you are on a reality show called Mama June. From not to hot. You are literally collecting a paycheck because of Mama June's mess. You cannot be the star of a circus and then complain that there are clowns in the tent. You are on her show. If you hate the toxicity so much, give up the cameras, give up the platform, and go live quietly in the house Trina just gave you. Go work a 9 to 5. But if you are cashing the network television checks, you need to wake up and realize you are part of the June ecosystem. Stop acting shocked when the tornado hits your house. You literally built your house in Tornado Alley to sell tickets to the storm.
Wow, you are coming for their literal livelihoods. You are pulling back the curtain on the whole industry. But you're not wrong. They want the fame and the checks without the fallout.
Okay, this is getting so heated, which means it is time for the final battle. Segment 4. Who are you rooting for? Pick your side. Defend it. Debate. I know exactly where you stand on this. You wear your heart on your sleeve.
I am absolutely 100% Team Jessica and Cheyenne. I'm rooting for them. Because trying to plan a wedding with zero budget while dealing with a recent house fire, while managing 2 warring, deeply toxic mothers who are using your nuptials as a geopolitical battleground, that is an absolute nightmare. I don't care if they roll their eyes. I don't care if they have an attitude. They have earned the right to be in a bad mood. The psychological toll of navigating June's financial abuse and Trina's martyrdom is exhausting. I am defending their right to a drama-free day, and I genuinely hope they elope and don't invite either of them. Just take the $4,000, go to a beach, and turn off your location sharing.
A noble, highly emotional stance, and completely boring for television. I am taking the controversial, analytical, deeply snarky stance I am rooting for Team June.
You are sick. How can you root for her after the phone tracking, the financial abuse, and the naked flop over?
Because, from a purely entertainment-based metric, June is the only one earning her paycheck. I am defending Team June because she has fully embraced her villain era. She isn't pretending to be a savior. She isn't pretending to be holy. She looked at the camera and said, I am going to make Trina's life a living hell, and it's the most productive thing I'll do all week. That is a breathtaking level of self-awareness. Trina is a buzzkill. Cheyenne is a buzzkill. June turning the notch up to 100 just to mess with Trina is reality TV gold. She is the engine driving this entire plot. Without June's pop-up, without the staircase fight, that venue tour is just 5 minutes of people quietly looking at a pecan tree. June brought the plot.
But being good TV doesn't excuse being a terrible mother. You cannot sacrifice your child's mental health for Nielsen ratings. You are enabling a monster just because she makes you laugh.
And you are watching the exact same show, consuming the exact same trauma, and generating the exact same ratings that keep her on the air. We are all complicit in the Mama June industrial complex. We demand the gladiator blood sport, and then we sit in the stands and judge the gladiators for being messy. I'm just honest enough to admit I'm rooting for the lion.
I am spiraling. I am officially spiraling. This debate is going to ruin our Friday. You are making me question my own morality for watching this.
Okay. Let's bring the energy back down. Deep breaths. Let's return to the Friday afternoon self-care delusion.
Yes, please. I need to look at my shiny Cardi B hair in the mirror to calm my nervous system down.
Think of the soft hair. Think of the white sangria vibes, the condensation on the glass, the unhinged Turkish tea-inspired wine readings from earlier. Remember, I looked into your glass and predicted you would have an emotional meltdown over reality TV, and look what just happened. The sangria spirits never lie.
They really don't. The prophecy was fulfilled. We survived the checkmate chaos, but barely. And now we want to hear from the Snark Squad. Babes, we have questions for you. First of all, are you a sangria person? Let us know in the comments.
Secondly, after witnessing our stunning mystical accuracy, would you want us to read your wine glass? Send us a picture of your dregs, and we will predict your doom.
And most importantly, what chaos are you getting into this weekend? Are you tracking someone's location? Are you fighting by a staircase? Are you gray-rocking your mother-in-law? We need to know.
Before we go, I want to bring it back to that final provocative thought we opened with. Something for you to mull over while you sip your weekend drinks. We just spent this entire episode debating who is right, who is wrong, and who makes for good TV. But if reality television thrives almost entirely on toxic family dynamics, if we require them to be messy and meshed and abusive just to be entertained, at what point does our consumption of their trauma actively prevent them from actually healing? Think about it. If June suddenly went to intensive therapy, set healthy boundaries, and became a perfectly calm, supportive, quiet mother, would we all stop watching? Are we, the audience, the reason they can't get better?
Oh my gosh, that is so dark and so deep. I'm going to be thinking about that all weekend while I try not to text my ex. Babes, if you survived this mess with us, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe.
And send in your messy listener submissions for next week. If your mother-in-law is policing your dishwasher, or if your partner is choosing a $50,000 wedding over your dignity, we want to hear about it. Send this to your messiest friend, the one who desperately needs a reality check.
Thank you, Snark Squad, for drinking with us, spiraling with us, and always embracing the delusion.
Stay going.
Stay going, and we'll see you on the Snark side.